Hello, beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace and I'm back with another video for you guys. And today's video is going to be about manifesting in a time crunch, okay? So I'm gonna have 3 different ways that you can do this, all ways that I have used. I want to reassure you guys that you absolutely can get what you need in a time crunch. And I'm telling you guys this from really, like I said in my past video, or my last video, it's also my past video, but my video about money, I was talking a little bit about like my money experience and things like that. And for me, struggling through life kind of really assisted me in becoming a master manifester because I had no choice and no resource other than my imagination. So I'm telling you guys that to say that when I say that these things work, no matter your situation, okay, I basically paid my rent on faith and all my bills. And I'm talking about time crunch, getting like to the last second, the last day, the last whatever, and getting it done, okay? So I want you to just know it's not over until you say it's over, okay? It's not done until you say it's done, no matter your circumstance. So I'm not even gonna touch on, actually, you know what, I'll touch on self-concept briefly, because what I will say is that because of my self-concept, the way that my money would manifest, or that whatever I needed would manifest, would come from a little bit of an anxious state. And it would maybe not be like, maybe I had to, I was given money, but I had to pay it back, or like I said, it was just anxiety up until that last moment. But the point of this video is not really self-concept per se, right? Not in the sense that I always talk about it. Because the fact is, when you need what you need, you need what you need. You don't have time to be doing, you know what I mean? Like, not, again, you guys know I promote self-concept, but when you need what you need, you need what you need. And you can get it no matter what your self-concept is if you do these 3 things. So I am Olivia Grace. Welcome to the Master Manifestors channel. I love all of you guys. I want to shout out Jaleesa. My love, I love you so much. She's the one that suggested and asked this question. So this is for you and for all of you guys that this is going to really help, and you guys are going to see that circumstances do not matter. Okay. I am a manifestation teacher. If you would like to work with me, there are all kinds of ways that you can do that. If you want to have a one-on-one session with me, then you can book that. There's a link in the description for that. If you would like to do email coaching, right? That's more of a budget coaching that you can buy. You can do 2 emails for $50. If you want me to create a SAT to revision scene, it's an extra $25. Info is in the description as well. And last but not least, I am hosting a group coaching for next month in July. And I'll have details as well. Well, email me if you're interested in that. But I'm so freaking excited. The women in it are so excited. I literally can't wait. It's going to be some magnificent quantum shifts that are going on. So if you're interested, then you need to email me like right now, like pause the video, email me, because this is starting July 1st. And we have like just only a few days left of July or June, as it is. So email me now. Okay. Is that all I want to say? Yeah, I think so. Okay. If you are into law of assumption, manifestation, then you should subscribe, you should comment, you should share, you should do whatever the fuck that you want. And then you should totally come back when you manifest what you needed on a time crunch. Okay. So let's get started. This first one is my go-to. Okay. And this is how Neville taught it. I meant to actually pull it up in his complete reader, which if you guys want to buy, I have a link in my description of like my Amazon like bookstore of the books that I feel like are very transformational, that have helped me on my journey. And Neville's complete reader is of course on there. It's Neville. But this is how I was taught about manifesting on a time crunch. And this is how Neville teaches it. Okay. So basically let me just say how Neville says it. Okay. He says, imagine it's Tuesday and you need something done by Sunday. What you're going to do on Tuesday is create the mood and the atmosphere on Sunday in your imagination. Okay. So even you know, back when Neville was, you know, alive, Sundays were a time where people still didn't work. Like it was still held, you know, as the Sabbath, where a lot of businesses would be closed and, you know, things like that. So even today, right? There are still some businesses that are closed. When you go out on a Sunday, there's more of a stillness in the air. It's not busy, you know. Even Saturday is busier than Sunday. It's more like, you know, people are out, they're having fun. Sunday, everybody's kind of resetting, hanging out with family at home, right? So you're going to create the mood and the atmosphere in your imagination of Sunday. And you're going to see yourself having what you need by Sunday, right? Having what you need in that moment. But you're mentally, this is the part, you guys, you are mentally, consciously taking your consciousness forward into that time that it's happening, or that it's due, or and really it's past the time that it's due. And you're gonna see that it's done, okay? So for instance, for me, like I told you guys, I said I did this with my rent a lot, okay? So I wouldn't have my rent. I would be, you know, like a few days before I had to pay it and just didn't have enough, didn't know where it would come from, you know, whatever. And let me pause right here, because I know people will say, oh, you're a coach and you da 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 and things like that. I would say it almost never came, like pretty much almost never came through my business, because I had a horrible self-concept around my business, you know, so it wasn't even that. But yeah, so I would be needing the money, and what I would do was I would mentally insert myself at the rental office, filling out my money order, right? I would go through all the details, writing the amount out in, you know, you have to write the amount out in words, signing it, dating it, making small talk with the rent office lady, right? I would feel myself and enter that state, enter that moment in my mind, okay? And just like imagine that. Now, here's the part about this, okay, you guys? And before I say it, don't argue for your limitations, okay? Don't argue for your limitations. If you are needing something, it behooves you not to argue for your limitations, okay? So what I would do was, when doubt would come, and trust me, y'all, the doubt was there. The anxiety was there. Like, let me just pause really quick and just say, back in like November, I was really sick, right? Which is like, this is probably one of the sickest that I've been ever in my life. Definitely the sickest I've been in my adult life. And I literally had like the flu or something for like 2 weeks. I could not work. I could not leave the house. I had a fever. I was like, I couldn't barely even like get up to go eat. I didn't want to eat anyway. So anyway, needless to say, when you're someone who lives paycheck to paycheck and you miss 2 weeks of work, you know what I mean? And for me, it wasn't even paycheck to paycheck. It was day by day by day by day that I was making my money. So missing 2 weeks of work, I was super behind. And I hadn't been late on my rent yet, because I had always, even though I had this kind of like struggle with paying my rent, I would still always manifest it. But this time I was so behind that I just didn't have it. And I was basically being faced with eviction, because other places that I lived, like they would let you have like extra weeks to pay, but you would just have to pay extra. So in my head, that's what I was thinking. You guys, when I say the day after the grace period, they had the eviction notice, like, we're about to file for eviction if you don't pay like in a couple days. Okay. So I say that to say, you guys, right? It's not like I feel like a lot of times people think that coaches make it seem like that. Like they just believe, and I don't ever have doubts, and oh, nothing ever goes wrong in my life, you know, which is a great thing to affirm and a great thing to say, but it's hard for people to relate to that when that's not how you're feeling. So I'm telling you this, I'm highlighting this and telling that story for you guys to know it does not matter what situation you're in. It doesn't matter if you're anxious and you know, whatever. But what I had to do, and what I always had to do, was when the doubt came, when the anxiety came, I had to go back to what I saw. Okay. So when you're doing your visualization, when you're doing your sats, don't do it as if it's just like, oh, that's a nice daydream, but here's reality, right? You need to see what you're seeing in your imagination as reality. This is what's real. This is the only option. This is the only way that it can go. Okay. If I saw this, if I experienced it, then it's done, right? Neville, when he used to pray or visualize or whatever, or affirm, he said, if I heard it, then I know my Father heard it. And if my Father heard it, it's done. Okay. So again, one thing I want to say here too, you guys, is that the problem that people have with manifesting is that they want miraculous results with logical expectations. Okay. You don't believe in magic. You just want magic to happen, right? You have and I feel like I'm all over the place, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is in those moments when it was either eviction or faith, that's it. That was my only two options, you guys. Okay. And if you're in a situation like that, I intend that you're not, but whatever situation that has you needing, you don't have an option to dwell in doubt. I'm not saying that the doubt's not going to come up. I'm not going to say that the anxiety is not going to come up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that it'll be easy, right? It can be, but I'm not saying that it is. All I'm saying is you have to decide that what I saw is real. What I saw is real, and it means that it's done. It means that regardless of what I'm seeing or what I'm not seeing in front of me, it is done. My problem is solved. My solution is here, right? So that's number one. Create the mood. And when I say create the mood, you guys, I really need you guys to resurrect your imagination, resurrect your awe and wonder and ability to pretend like when we were children. Okay. Create the mood and the atmosphere, right? I want you to think about the mood and the atmosphere of Christmas time, right? It is vastly different. You can step outside, you can look outside and tell immediately the difference between summertime and Christmas time. You can immediately tell the difference between the feeling, the vibe, the atmosphere of reality versus like Halloween versus Christmas, right? Halloween versus Easter, springtime, right? Catch the mood of the moment that you want, right? Or even if you can't catch the mood of the moment, just see yourself after it's done, right? Or you can see yourself like I said, if it's a bill that you have to pay or something that you have to, that you have to do, see yourself completing that action, right? And feeling the relief of, whew, I did it, okay? That's the first way. Number two, I am the revision queen, you guys. All right. I've been saying this for years now. And because I feel like from what I see, like I know other coaches touch on revision, but I don't feel like people touch on it as much as I do. And I feel like it's one of the very underrated techniques because of how powerful and quick it works. Okay. So revise that you always have and always do get what you want. Because Jaleesa, the one that asked about this, she said, I always get what I want, but I always get it late, or I never get it by the time that I want. I don't ever make the time crunch, right? Okay. I want you guys to realize that that is also an assumption, right? That is also an assumption. That is a belief, right? So, and this is why revision is so powerful, okay? Because your current self-concept from your logical mind is made up of your past experiences, okay? This is why it's so difficult sometimes for people to shift, because they have all this evidence that says, this is who I am. I'm not making this shit up. I have evidence after evidence after evidence that says, this is who I am. I don't get it on time. I'm not the loved person. I am the broke person. And we use those things to reaffirm and reinforce that we are still that version of ourselves, right? So I want you to revise that you always have gotten what you want. And this is the self-concept piece, which is not about so much self-concept about what you're doing, but it's a self-concept about your manifestation abilities, and especially your manifestation abilities on manifesting in a time crunch, okay? I will say that this is what also helped me in times, because I'm telling you guys, there were times where I saw no way. I saw absolutely no way for it to work out, okay? And I was like this close to missing the time crunch, right? Missing the deadline. But one of the only things other than knowing that manifestation works was me knowing that I've done this time after time after time. It works every time, and I never know how it's gonna work. So why worry myself about it? Okay, so what I want you guys to do is go back to those times in your imagination where you were manifesting on a time crunch and you didn't get what you wanted. And I want you to see yourself getting what you want. And what this is gonna do is create a concept of self that supports that you do get what you want on a time crunch. You always get what you want on a time crunch, right? Which is going to lessen the anxiety, lessen the resistance, and make it easier for you to persist in the fact that I will have it, I do have it, I always had it, right? Okay, so revise that you always have and always do get what you want in the moment that you want it, okay? All right, now the last one is to affirm, believe, choose, decide that it's already happened, okay? This is for my full-on Delulu people. That's me, okay? It already happened. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not happened, right? Like, let's say, for instance, let's take what I was talking about. You're paying your rent and you don't, you feel like you don't have the money and you're like 2 days before, but there's already a check in the mail for you, right? And the impulse for you to check the mail or not depends on what state you're dwelling in, right? It depends on what you're deciding. If you're deciding that, holy shit, there's no way, then you're not going to check the mail. You're going to miss that. Or the check will get lost in the mail. You know what I mean? If you're deciding that, you know what? It did happen. It has happened. Even though I don't see anything, I'm looking at my bank account and it looks the same. I'm looking at my reality and it looks the same. But it did happen because I said so and because I get to say what happens in this reality. Now, all of a sudden, you have the strong urge to just go check the mail and there's your answer, right? And when I tell you that the universe is so creative, you guys, like, actually, let me tell you guys, if you guys have not heard, there is something called Flex, which lets you split your rent in half. So I'm intending that helps somebody. You pay like half at the beginning of the month and half in the middle of the month. But that was something that manifested for me. My brother like randomly told us, 1 month, like, hey, you guys, I've been using this thing and it's been helping me. And so I was like, oh my God, like that helped. That was my solution. Then I had enough to pay what I needed to pay. You see what I'm saying? So the universe is very crafty in the way that it will bring your desire to you. But believe that it already happened. And you guys, I want to say there is no time. Okay. I talked about this in a couple of videos, which when I edit this, I'll put it up here somewhere, but there is no time. This is what's imperative to know, is that when we say it's already done, we really mean that literally, right? Like, I feel like even at a point in my manifestation journey, I would hear it's already done. And I would think that was like an affirmation, that we're saying that to make ourselves believe that it's already done. Right. But the truth is that it is already done. Right? It's all in existence now because there's no moment other than now. There are infinite now moments and there are infinite versions of you and infinite outcomes for us to choose from. And the problem is that we usually choose based off of our past. So we continue to choose the same outcome and choose the same reality, right? But when you consciously choose another outcome and choose another reality and are faithful to that, then you get a different outcome. But the outcome exists nonetheless. It's not that you affirming, you have to affirm. And once you hit that 10K mark, now your reality materializes, right? No, once you hit that 10K mark, you give yourself permission to believe that your reality has materialized. You give yourself permission to mentally and consciously occupy it. But it was there all along, right? Neville talks about moving through states as if we're moving through actual states. When I drive from here to Florida, it doesn't mean Georgia doesn't exist. It just means I'm occupying Florida at the moment, right? So yeah, you might be where you are in the reality that you're in. You don't have it, right? But now you're choosing to be consciously in the reality where you do have it, just like that, where it does work out. There's a reality where you just find peace. This video is like, you know what? I have no other option. I'm just going to trust, and it manifests. There's a reality where you're, there's a reality where you are like discouraged and anxious and spiraling, and you still get it. You know what I mean? Like, just make wherever you're at, whatever state you're in, whatever you're going through, that it doesn't matter. You're going to get what you want, period. You have what you want. It already happened, right? And mentally dwell there. So create the mood, visualize in sats you don't even have to be in SATs, because I didn't always do it in SATs, but visualize, create the mood of the time that implies that your time has come, whatever. Again, you're manifesting something by Christmas. Create the mood of Christmas. See that thing being done, right? Revise that you always have and always do get what you want on time. On time. Go back and see instances where you didn't and see you getting it, okay? Affirm / believe / decide that it already happened. It already happened, okay? And remember that there's no time. Check out that video, because I'm not gonna go all into details. All my videos have been like an hour long, my lives, and that's like, it's ridiculous, but it's good. But that's it, you guys, okay? So I am intending that this helps you, okay? I'm intending that you guys are able to get exactly what you want by the time. And more importantly, because here's the thing about the time crunch, is that it's gonna hype your belief up. It's easy to manifest things that you have no resistance to, that don't matter, that's whatever. Those are nice, right? But when you see that even when I'm in need, or even when it seems like there's no absolute possible way, there is a way. That's going to help you with all of your manifestations, okay? So I'm intending that this help. I know that it does. Coaching in the description. Email me if you're interested in the SP group coaching for next month. Email coaching in the description. Like the video, comment, share it. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in a video soon.